and Eileen Severs were pillars of their community in Hambleton in Leicestershire. He was a successful businessman. She had been awarded an MBE for her charity work. They were well known to everyone in the village, where they'd lived for over 20 years. And then they just disappeared. Without warning, Eileen stopped turning up for work. Derek missed his business appointments. To their friends and colleagues, it made no sense. Derek and Eileen had been missing for a week. Friends called the police and they visited the house.
Hello, sir. DC Green, Leicestershire Police. I'm here about your parents. Are they about?
Down south for the week.
Oh, right if I look around?
Not at all.
Okay, great, thank you.
There was no sign of the couple, just their son Roger. But he didn't seem at all concerned.
You've not spoken to them lately?
Not since Tuesday. Mum says they're coming back on Monday.
Oh, that's nice. Where are they staying?
I didn't think to ask.
Oh, right. Yeah. What happened here then? No carpet?
Mum's bath overflowed, so I ripped it up.
Right, okay. Nasty that when that happens, isn't it? I had that done in mine. Nasty still, I suppose you'll get it on the insurance, won't you, sir?
Yeah.
What happened here then? No carpet either?
Dad dropped the chip pan. Wasn't a great weekend for them.
That doesn't sound like it, does it?
Why weren't your officers convinced by that?
The explanations were not good. Wetting carpets isn't enough to get rid of carpets. Fat on the carpets, maybe, it might be, but put the two things together with people missing, it looked very sinister. It looked as if what we got here was a cover-up.
Now, if those missing carpets had suggested something sinister, what about Roger himself?
Roger was too calm. There was oddities about the house. Instinct said something seriously was wrong here. The story is just not adding up.
Within 48 hours, they arrested Roger Severs on suspicion of murder. Now, you made your move as police really early. You made an arrest. Why so early? You only had the missing carpets to go on.
It was instinct. It was instinct that he was not telling the truth. It was instinct that they hadn't gone away as he said they had. And the answer was he'd probably killed them.
Could Roger Severs really have murdered his own parents? It seemed unthinkable. The police needed hard evidence.
Cold, painstaking but necessary work. 60 police officers have been searching countryside today as concern grows about Derek and Eileen Severs. They live in a large house on the edge of the village of Hambleton.
The investigation had to start at the house. Once we'd arrested him, the house was completely sealed, and I handed it over completely to a forensic team to do full analysis.
Immediately, forensic officers were drawn to Mr. Severs' car. It was covered in mud, and that just didn't seem right.
To see a grubby car, and yet with these people who are so neat and tidy, just looked out of place, that didn't seem right. So we thought again there was something significant here that needed further investigation.
They found what they were looking for in the boot, traces of blood. It seemed likely whoever had killed the couple had used their car to dispose of the bodies.
If the car has been used to remove the bodies, which is what we initially thought, could the soil on the car, the mud on the sides of the car, tell us where it's been?
The forensics team hoped the mud on the car would lead them to the bodies. If it did, it would be a massive breakthrough.
The main samples that we took from the car were underneath the wheel arches, the reason being that had accumulated the most material, and you could take off a stratified layer, and therefore obviously that meant that some more interpretation could be made as to the sequence of events that had occurred.
If they could find where the mud on the car had come from, chances are they would find the bodies. And forensic work carried on at the Severs bungalow, where more clues suggested the couple had been violently attacked.
In the bathroom we found a significant distribution of blood. Obviously the carpet was missing, and we rather suppose that would have told us an awful lot if it were there. But we did find a lot of low-level fine spray distributed around the bathroom, which is indicative of repeated hits on the body.
Had the couple been murdered in their own bathroom? Only finding the bodies could provide the answer.
We had hundreds of volunteers come out and walk the woods walked the fields, walked the area, trying to see if they could find the body. We did searches of Rutland Water. It's an immense stretch of water. We had divers in there. We had low-flying planes going over it. We even used sonar to see if there's any objects in the deep water that might be bodies. All of it was completely negative.
Despite the massive search, there was no sign of Derek and Eileen, dead or alive. But the results from the soil lab were about to blow the case wide open. Scientists analysed the minerals, pollens and organic matter in the soil. They proved the mud on the car could only have come from 2 small areas of local woodland.
It was amazing. So instead of looking over the whole of Rutland, the whole of Leicestershire, the area that the car could have driven in a short time, it brought us right down to where we were actually dealing with the murder.
This is where all of that brought you. What did you do then?
You have to put practicalities into it. What we knew was that Mr. Severs was a big man. He was 20 stone, and Roger, as far as we know, was working on his own, so he couldn't move him very far. So I set search parameters of 50 metres within vehicular access. And this is vehicular access, so we're searching within 50 metres of this. So one of the searchers got to a point about where we are now, and what he saw in front of him was some soil, a pile of soil that didn't seem to fit in with the rest of the forest floor. And as he pulled the soil away, what he saw and what he felt was cold flesh. He'd come across the back of Mr. Severs. It's a terrible moment, but it's an extraordinary moment for the investigation, because the purpose of the search was to find the bodies, and we'd actually done it. This is the place that the science had led us to. This is the place that the soil said you should look, and it all came to fruition. It was here.
Police could now prove the unthinkable, that Roger Severs had murdered his parents and buried them in the woods. But it wasn't until the case got to court that Roger Severs finally admitted what he'd done. His story of his parents' murder begins in the kitchen as the family prepared steak for dinner.
Where do you want this, love?
Oh, lovely. A sink, please.
The problem was Roger's life had been one failure after another.
Dad?
Yeah.
We've got this business venture. It's a pub.
Roger. Roger. I just have a feeling I know where this is
He was
going.
now 37, and his parents were sick of supporting
The answer
him.
to that is no,
Listen
because
to
I...
what the
No,
proposition-
because you're going to ask me for money.
Now, listen,
Look,
it's
12 grand up the wall.
They argued.
Enough of you and your harebrained schemes.
It's not a harebrained scheme!
You've got to stand on your own.
Roger lost his temper. Mum struck 8 times. That left Dad. 10 blows. Bodies, backseat and boot. To the woods. Buried. The clean-up. We know all about Roger's efforts to hide his tracks by cleaning up the gory evidence of the crime. When police searched the house, they found a killer's to-do list on the kitchen table. Clean the wheelbarrow, clean the car, clean the bathroom. But, however hard he cleaned, he couldn't hide the fact he'd murdered his own parents. Roger Severs was sent down with 2 life sentences.